Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Chill Out podcast. So, you guys won't believe it, but it actually started raining today. Today is the last day of summer, the last day of February. And even though I love summer, I love a good beach day, I love the sunny skies and all of that, I am so happy that it started raining today. You have no idea. Like, you know that whole vibe when it starts raining, it's cloudy, it's kind of moody, and then you can kind of like take your blanket and sit on the couch and lay and watch movies all day. That was the vibe today. So I was so stoked about that because it's honestly been so hot. I feel like summer has lasted for like 6 months. Like, I'm not even being dramatic right now, but sleeping at night when it is super hot, it's honestly like, it sucks. I've been sleeping with the fan on literally almost every single night, and I know some people love that sound that the fan makes. I honestly don't. I like falling asleep either to like a movie some nights or sometimes to just like silence. So the fact that I have to have the fan on and it's making that noise, it's not calming for me. So anyways, I obviously love summer. I love the beautiful weather and having something to do when it's like nice and hot or whatever. But I was so grateful that finally we got some rain, and I'm literally babbling on about this for so long, but honestly, it was amazing and I was so grateful for it. But today we are going to be speaking about something that I did some research on, and I found this article about this specific topic, like why women need more sleep than men. And I immediately clicked into it because I was like, wait, this is actually very interesting. And I love learning new things, because sometimes we just think things are the way they are and we don't really take the time to understand something. So I was like, wait, let me do some research on this. Okay, so I'm very excited for this episode. But I do want to share this really funny story that happened to me the other day. So in the last week, my skin was so bad. It was so like irritated and red, and I was getting a lot of pimples, which I hardly get ever. So that was putting me down a little bit. And I remember seeing these like, I think it's called like celiac acid. I don't know. Okay, don't judge me for butchering the name, but something like that. That was like the name of it or whatever. But it was like pimple patches, and they were like in heart shapes. And I was like, wait, I have to get this. Like, this is so cute. So I ended up getting them. And I was like, okay, cool. I just got out the shower. I did my little face wash, cold water, all of the vibes. Let me put the pimple patches on. It's cute. Let me stick my hair back and put some comfy clothes on and go to the shop. And I'm literally walking to the shop. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling chilled. I know I have like multiple pimple patches all over my face, but I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. Okay. Everyone gets pimples. It's totally chilled. So as I leave the grocery store, okay, and I'm walking around, I'm like looking at all of the shops, walking past the bookstore and the clothing store or whatever, and this guy is like walking on the left hand side of me, and he's like, I think you got lipstick on your face. And I was like, what? No, these are pimple patches. I don't think he actually like registered what I said, or maybe like he's a guy, he's not going to know what pimple patches are, but it was like so embarrassing, but not like embarrassing. Like, I felt confident and chilled wearing them, but the fact that someone like literally pointed out that I may have gotten lipstick on my mouth, not on my mouth. What am I even saying? I may have gotten lipstick like on my chin was like, honestly, I was dying inside. Like, I was dying. Oh my gosh. Because I'm thinking, what if everyone else is thinking that? I literally sped walk out of the store so quickly, like out of the mall, I mean. And I was canning myself in the car. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, Kelly, you are so embarrassing sometimes. Like, you were so cringe. Oh my gosh. But that was so funny. Like, I just had to share that because that was honestly hilarious, but whatever. So have you ever felt like you need more sleep than the men in your life, and then you sort of judge yourself for it? Well, this episode is definitely for you. Maybe you've noticed you can't function on 5 hours the same way that your partner does, or your brother claims he can. Maybe you need like a full 8 hour or 9 hours just to feel steady and good. Maybe you wake up tired even after being in bed long enough. And somewhere along the line, you've sort of internalized that as a personal flaw. Like, you're less disciplined, less resilient, less productive, bad at mornings. But the thing is, there are real biological and neurological and social reasons why women often require more sleep, and why the sleep we get can feel less restorative. And this isn't about being dramatic, it's actually science. So I'm really keen to unpack it with you. So the first reason is the fact that women's brains are metabolically active in different ways, and there is research that shows that women tend to engage more areas of the brain throughout the entire day, specifically tasks involving emotional processing and language and multitasking and social cognition. Now, this doesn't mean that women are smarter or better, even though we are. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, we're all equal. But it just means that the brain networks that tend to be more active in women are often the ones involved in constant switching and monitoring. So think about a typical day, okay? So you're answering emails while thinking about dinner. You're in a meeting, but clocking someone else's tone shift or their mood has shift. You're sort of like remembering a friend's birthday and then replying to a message, planning next week, and then also adjusting your own mood all simultaneously. I mean, honestly, this sounds like us. Like, we are champion multitaskers. I feel like, especially for myself, my brain is overthinking so many things. Like, I need to try and get myself back in the present moment a lot of the time because I'm thinking of so many things. And when I see these like funny memes on like Instagram or whatever, it's so funny because it's so relatable when your brain is literally running so fast that you can't even keep up. That constant mental tab switching, it requires energy, and sleep is where the brain metabolically cleans house, right? So during deep sleep, the brain clears waste products and regulates neurotransmitters, consolidates memory, and then recalibrates stress hormones. So if your brain has been running more background processes all day, it does logically need more recovery time. It's not weakness, it's neurological math. So more cognitive load means more restoration required. So the second reason is the fact that hormones don't just affect mood, they also affect sleep architecture. So this is the part we don't talk about enough. So men operate on roughly a 24-hour hormonal cycle. Testosterone rises and falls within the day. Women operate on a 28-day roughly hormonal rhythm. So estrogen and progesterone, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to butcher that word, but I didn't. Those types of hormones, they shift throughout the entire month and both directly impact sleep quality. For example, rising progesterone in the luteal phase increases body temperature, which can make it harder to fall asleep. So fluctuating estrogen affects serotonin and melatonin, both of which regulate mood and sleep cycles. So PMS, for example, can increase anxiety and restlessness and light sleep. And then during premenopause, declining estrogen often leads to night sweats and insomnia. So when you find yourself exhausted but wired before your period, that's not a character flaw, that's like biochemistry. And I know I'm someone that when I'm about to get my period, I already feel super down. I sort of like go within myself a lot. Like I just want to be alone and by myself and not talk to anyone. And I get really like introspective and I don't know, like it honestly sucks because your hormones are like fluctuating and doing its thing and you kind of just have to roll with the punches, but sometimes it really sucks. So you are going to have those times when you really don't get that much quality sleep. And because of this, sleep quality changes across the month. Many women end up accumulating a subtle sleep debt without realizing it. It's not that you can't handle mornings. It might be that your hormones literally altered how deeply you slept. So that's why you feel really like sluggish and like you haven't gotten that much rest, even though you went to bed maybe at like 8 p.m. and woke up at like 8 a.m. or something. The third reason is that emotional labor is invisible energy expenditure. So let's talk about something less clinical but just as real, which is emotional labor. And this is the constant mental tracking and relational management that women carry a lot of the time. It's remembering to check in and planning holidays, anticipating needs, managing tensions, holding space for everyone. And even in balanced relationships, many women are socially conditioned to monitor emotional climate, whether it's in friendships or families or workplaces. So think about how often we are focused on so many things at once. We're trying to remember someone's birthday. We're looking at our to-do list for work. We have a deadline. Then we have to go to the store and buy some food so we can make ourselves some dinner and make sure that it's healthy and nourishing and all of that. And that's something that you have to think about. Or if you're running a household and you have multiple things that you need to do, it all adds to your mental load and the amount of emotional labor that you end up putting in throughout your day and week and month. And this all leads to affecting how you rest and how you switch off and how much quality sleep you actually get. And here's the thing, the brain doesn't differentiate between physical and psychological energy expenditure the way we think it does. Stress hormones still rise and cortisol still fluctuates, cognitive bandwidth still gets used. So by the time you get into bed, your body might be physically tired, but your nervous system is still processing. So rest isn't just about muscles, it's about neural load. And if your neural load is heavier, you may need longer or deeper recovery. So think about it, when you have like a really long day and it's been like back-to-back meetings and you're like just been grinding the entire day, like you haven't had a time to like come up for some air and actually take a second for yourself. At the end of the day, when you go and maybe take a really nice shower or a long bath, your body is physically tired, but your mind is still very active and it's still struggling to sort of like turn off and get into the mode of rest and recovery. So it's a lot that you need to think about when you ask yourself, like, why do I feel so lazy all the time? Like, why do I feel so tired all the time? It's these things that play a part in that. And it's really cool to like learn about it and understand it so that you can try and make sure that you are getting enough rest and you are getting the sleep quality that you need in order to function and like sustain your day to day. I know for myself, in the week, it's really busy and there's lots to do, and I'm like having a podcast sometimes on the side while I'm working because it just really helps me to focus. Like, I love background noise. It just sort of feels like really comforting, whatever. But that's another form of like stimulus that is constantly in the background. So you're focused on this, you're focused on that. This is playing in the background. And then at the end of the day, when it's time to really recover, your mind is taking a lot of time to switch off. So on weekends, what I love doing is I love just having a few hours, like on a Saturday, if I don't have any plans or whatever, just to be in silence. So I do not want to watch anything. I don't want to put anything on and have some music in the background or anything that is adding any noise or like overstimulation. I sort of like to just be in like a state of silence. I know that sounds so weird, but it honestly feels so calming when you don't have anything in the background or like on your mind or whatever. You just kind of want to sit with your thoughts and process the week and process everything and sort of have that time for yourself to like reset in a way. The last few nights, the moonlight has actually been shining directly into my lounge area and like into my bedroom. So what I've done is like I will like open the curtains a little bit so that it like shines through in silence with the moonlight shining and just sort of decompressing and just vibing out, relaxing, and just taking that time for myself. So the fourth reason is that women experience high rates of insomnia and anxiety. So statistically, women report insomnia nearly twice as often as men. Anxiety disorders are also more prevalent in women, and anxiety directly interferes with sleep and sleep depth. So you can be in bed for 8 hours and still spend a portion of that time in lighter sleep stages due to being hypervigilant or still processing any stress that you're feeling. So when a woman says, I slept but I don't feel rested, it's often because her sleep architecture was fragmented. So more time in bed doesn't automatically mean restorative sleep. So for example, on a Sunday evening for me, sometimes I really like to get into bed at a really good time. So 8 p.m., 9 p.m. for the latest, because I know I have to wake up super early for work the next day. So I want to make sure that I'm well rested and I can wake up feeling really good. And I will still be getting that full 8 hours of sleep, but sometimes I do end up waking up not well rested, super tired. But then there will be sometimes when I will wake up and I'll feel really great and pumped up and ready for the day and awake and, you know, just ready. But there are days when even though I am getting a lot of sleep, I still feel really tired. So this can create a very like frustrating cycle because you feel tired, you push through, you judge yourself, you get stressed. And then stress just worsens sleep. And then that whole cycle just continues to repeat. And then eventually burnout starts to feel like your entire personality trait. So number 5 is chronic sleep deprivation hits women differently. So sleep loss impacts everyone, but for women, it can quickly amplify. So hormonal imbalance, blood sugar instability, mood fluctuations, skin inflammation, cortisol dysregulation, thyroid stress, increased PMS, all of those types of things. Sleep is deeply intertwined with the endocrine system. And when sleep is compromised, hormones follow. So if you've ever felt like everything spirals when you're overtired, emotionally, physically, hormonally, that's not you being dramatic. That's your system being interconnected. Okay, so number 6, the cultural layer, the productivity guilt. Now, let's layer culture on top of biology. We live in a world that glorifies 5 a.m. wake-ups and sleep when you're dead productivity, but most of those productivity models were built around male hormonal rhythms. So when women try to force themselves into identical patterns without adjusting for our biology, it can feel like constantly swimming upstream, and then we internalize the struggle as inadequacy. But what if your need for 9 hours isn't laziness, it's actually alignment? What if going to bed at 9:30 instead of pushing through one more episode is self-regulation, not weakness? So I've been that person before that just pushes myself and the 5 a.m. wake-ups and the productivity hacks, and I just want to do more and more and more. But I'm not thinking about what I need also in that moment. Some days, yes, I am being lazy and I can push myself. But then I also need to be aware enough to understand that, today is not one of those days. And I actually do need to just pause, take a second, and then regroup and come back. And I just think it's all about listening to what you need in that moment and really being honest with yourself about it. The last reason is reframing the narrative. I think this is the part that matters most, because all the science in the world doesn't help if you are still quietly shaming yourself for being tired. We've been taught to treat tiredness like a flaw, like something to override and fix and push through and hack and optimize. But what if needing more sleep isn't some malfunction? What if it's actually feedback that we should take note of? So when you feel like you need 9 hours instead of 7, that isn't your body being dramatic, it's actually data. It's your system communicating that something required more output, cognitively, hormonally, emotionally, and now it needs recovery. Sleep isn't just about being unconscious. It's when your brain recalibrates neurotransmitters. It's when stress hormones come down. It's when memory is consolidated and emotional intensity is processed. It's when inflammation decreases. It's when your body quite literally repairs tissue and balances metabolic function. So if you needed more of it, it tells you something happened. Your brain worked hard, maybe not in a visible way. Maybe you weren't running a marathon or pulling some all-nighter, but you were thinking and you were deciding and managing and absorbing everything. You were switching context. You were navigating social nuance. You were solving problems. That cognitive expenditure, it adds up. And your hormones shifted. Maybe you're in a different phase of your cycle. Maybe stress spiked cortisol. Maybe your body temperature changed quietly overnight. These are subtle processes, but they require adjustment and energy. Your nervous system carried a load. Even if your day looked normal, maybe you had a hard conversation, maybe you were holding space for someone, maybe you were just quietly bracing through low-grade stress all day. The nervous system doesn't care whether the stressor looked impressive. It only registers that it had to stay alert. And when all of that happens, your body doesn't ask for a gold star, it asks for some time to repair and recover. And that's what sleep is for, right? It's repair time, it's maintenance mode, it's not indulgence, it's biological housekeeping. And I think that we've glamorized productivity to the point that we forget the body isn't a machine that runs endlessly on willpower and motivation. It's adaptive, it recalibrates constantly, and recalibration requires some stillness. It needs some time to just zen out and vibe out. Sometimes the most strategic decision for your mood tomorrow is ending the night earlier, because sleep impacts everything. Sugar cravings, hunger hormones, skin regeneration, immune resilience, emotional regulation. When you're sleep deprived, small problems feel bigger. You're less patient, you are more reactive, less clear, more impulsive. That's not a personality issue, that is neurobiology. And also think about it, when you wake up and you know you didn't get enough sleep, you wake up with such a puffy face. I know when I wake up and I haven't got enough rest, I look at myself in the mirror as soon as I get up and I'm like, Kelly, what happened? Like, what happened? I need to depuff my face. I need to get the gusha. I need to really just like do some cold water therapy right now to like make myself look like a human being again. And it's because I haven't been getting enough sleep. Is that throughout the day, I'm craving sugar like no other. Like, I will devour an entire slab of chocolate or an ice cream or whatever I can get my hands on, because my body is trying to make up for it. It's trying to keep it going. And then you start craving the wrong things, and then you feel guilty about eating those things, and it's just a whole cycle. Okay, a whole cycle that we can definitely avoid, trust me. Closing your laptop earlier isn't laziness, it's protecting your future capacity. It's saying, I understand that rest now prevents burnout later. It's also a quiet form of self-trust. Instead of outsourcing your cues to productivity culture or someone else's tolerance level for exhaustion, you listen inward and you actually take care of what you need in that moment. And that shift from fighting your biology to working with it, it changes everything, because the goal isn't to need less sleep. The goal is to feel well rested in your actual life so that you can do more of the things that you want to do. And sometimes the most powerful, grounded, emotionally intelligent thing you can do is to honor the signal that you're getting and go to bed. Like, go sleep. It's so crazy because like a few months ago, I was struggling to sleep well. So I was going to bed at a reasonable time or making sure that I get enough hours or whatever. But I would still wake up so drained. And then the next week, I would wake up and do the same routine and I would feel totally fine. So it was just so interesting to find this article and like read up more about it and how things can change and what affects it and all of those types of things, because now I'm a little bit more aware and I'm able to rather take the steps that I need so that I can be more mindful of what my body needs in order to get better rest. So if you've been judging yourself for needing more rest, consider this your permission slip to just stop. Your body isn't behind, it isn't broken, it isn't less capable. You aren't less than for needing to take an afternoon nap because you feel so exhausted, but now you're like guilt tripping yourself. I'm speaking about myself. But it's just about the fact that you have a slightly different rhythm, and that's okay. And honoring that rhythm isn't weakness, it's wisdom, and it's really smart, because when you understand why you feel the way you do, you're able to start looking for solutions on how to feel better and live better and do more, because you have the energy and you have the capacity, because you are taking care of yourself. You know that quote that everyone talks about, you can't fill someone else's cup if you can't fill up your own? And that is so true. I feel like once you are able to really take care of yourself and maintain that and be consistent, and I know it's not going to be perfect every single day. My life is not perfect. Sometimes I want to cut out sugar, but then the next day I'm eating a chocolate. It's all about balance. It's all about just making sure that you try again the next day and you keep pushing forward and you take the time to learn why you feel the way you do so that you can help yourself. Sometimes the most disciplined thing you can do is just go to bed, okay? Like I said, just go to bed. Sometimes you just need to turn off that laptop, switch off the TV, and just go and put your head on that cushy pillow and just vibe out. Go sleep, catch some Z's, and just get some good quality rest for yourself and do what you need to do. And if you want to sleep in on the weekends because you've had a really tough week, go for it. This episode is not meant to be like preachy or anything. I'm just like so passionate about this topic and just about life hacks in general, and I love learning new things because I am someone that is so hard on myself, because when I mess up, I'm my worst critic. I put myself down, I guilt trip myself. It's just the worst. So when I start to just be more intentional about the things that I'm doing, and I ask myself, is this actually going to benefit my future self and what I want to be and who, like what I want to do and how I want to feel about myself, then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm on the right track. It's okay. It's a learning process. It's a journey. And things like this is something that I used to struggle with a lot. Like, why am I so tired? Like, why can't I push myself even further today? And I just had to understand that it's biology. I need to look at what I need, and then I need to honor myself by doing what I need to do to feel better. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that it was helpful in some way. I hope you learned something. I hope maybe it's like sparked curiosity in you to read up more about this so that you can kind of find your own ways to feel better and actually get good quality sleep so that you can wake up in the morning and feel amazing and do what you need to do and just like vibe and achieve everything that you want in your day and in your month or whatever goals you may have. So I really hope that this episode was helpful. As always, I love hanging out with you guys so much. I hope you're doing amazing. Have the best day. And yeah, like I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow on Spotify and Apple and all of that. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.